let me just take care of some business. You know, I like to open up the show by telling you all to find a place to sit, grab something to write with, your favorite pen, piece of paper, get your favorite beverage. Today, I'm, of course, drinking water. Usually I'm drinking tea or coffee or something like that. But today I'm drinking water. Tell your family to give you a few moments, light an incense or a candle, whatever you need to do to get in your vibe, because the show is going to be very impactful and you're going to gain a lot out of it. And I don't want you to miss any of the nuggets of gold that my guest is going to share. So while you're doing that, let me take care of business. I want to thank our sponsors, Blissful Living for You at Blissful Living, the number 4, the letter U.com. They are into helping you all to elevate and amplify your wellness, wisdom, and wealth, particularly women and women entrepreneurs and those looking to just kind of get to the C-suite or just really elevate their careers and their lives. You want to check them out. They've got some good things coming up. I know there's a virtual summit coming up that you may want to check out. It's called Unshackle. And I'm just going to leave the teaser with that there. And also, if you want to just elevate your, again, wellness, wisdom, wealth, and any of those components, you definitely want to at least connect and engage with Blissful Living at Blissful Living, the number 4, the letter U.com. Now, I want to thank our other sponsor. It's a telecommunications installation company located in the heart of Silicon Valley, San Jose, California, the Golden State. Y'all know I'm from Cali. I'm a Golden State girl. And the company specializes in voice data and fiber optic cable installation and basically all things network distribution. They are a top 50 women-owned business in Silicon Valley. And they work with small, medium, and large-size corporations. So if you have a need for a phenomenal company to help you with your network distribution, whether it's installation of cabling, audio, video, speaker systems, cameras, monitors, whatever you need to help you communicate with your customers and get your point across the first time, you definitely want to check out All Day Cable Inc. because, again, they've been in the game for 35 years. They've survived every economy that we've had since then, and they're going to continue to thrive and take us on to the next few decades. So you can check them out at alldaycableinc.com. Now, you've probably had time to get your stuff together and get your space. So let me tell you about the guest today. Her name is Kelle Sparta, and Kelle is a spiritual business coach who helps high-performance empathetic business owners navigate their spiritual awakening in the 1/10 that time it would take to do it on their own. Who wants to elevate and move fast in this day and age to just really, really awaken your spiritual selves? I know there's a lot of you out there that are looking to do that. Check this out. Kelle is the host of the popular Spirit Sherpa Podcast with over 300,000 downloads in 147 countries around the world. We ain't playing today, y'all. Her book, The Overachiever's Guide to Spiritual Awakening, is a curriculum for spiritual seekers. And Kelle is a psychic, a medium, a channel, an empath, a sound and energy healer, and a transformational shaman. She uses her 50 years plus of spiritual study and extensive toolbox to help shepherd her students into their own personal enlightenment as quickly and as gracefully as possible. So today's topic is, guess what? Manifestation meets strategy. Welcome to the show, Kelle girl. How you doing?
Thank you. Thank you. I'm doing great. I'm loving the energy.
Well, yeah, I know you probably thought I was going to be a little subdued, but I'm that chick that's off the hook. I'm that woo-woo chick that's off the hook. But I think for me, I think energy is empowering and it's important. And we all have come across people where you meet them and you're like, the energy ain't vibing with mine. So I'm about to stay in my box and be a good girl. But you don't have to be that way today on this show. So tell me.
We're going to have so much fun. Oh my God.
I know. Let's start the conversation. So what I want to ask you is with regards to the work that you do, can you share with the listeners really, we're talking about manifestation meets strategy. And so I want to just dive into just this snippet before we go to our first break of what exactly you mean by that.
Well, so when we're talking about business strategy, for instance, right, because that's really what we're referencing here, business strategy is a foundation of, what you want. not really what you want. Let me rephrase that. It is more about how you see your business operating in the world, and how do you create a structure for that to bring you into the state of being that you're shooting for, right? Which is very similar to the law of attraction, to manifestation, right? The very first step in manifestation is to say what you want, right? And the strategy is, so the thing about strategy, here's the thing, right? Strategy tends to be something that we think we need to put in place. And it is and it isn't from a manifestation perspective, because when you are manifesting, your job is to tell the universe what you want and then to provide the motivation to get there, right? So
hold it right there, Kelle. We're gonna take our first break because I want to leave people like they in, right? Like, you have that good piece of pie and then you in. You want another bite? Hold tight. We'll be right back, y'all, in just a few moments. All righty. Welcome back to the Blissful Living Podcast with my guest, Kelle Sparta. And we were just talking about manifestation. And I know you guys were like leaned in if you're watching us, or like you turned the radio, your device up. Okay, I'm old school. I'm dating myself. Radio. Yeah.
The feeling.
Yeah, right. Okay. Grew up in the 70s, 60s, and 70s. So I'm just saying, we had radio back in the day. But Kelle, extrapolate more on what we were talking about, manifestation and strategy.
Yeah. So when you are manifesting, we provide the destination and the motivation. The universe provides the navigation. Okay. So in terms of manifestation specifically, the how is not our problem. It is the universe's problem, right? We do the what and the making steps towards the what, right? And then we let the universe provide the guidance, looking through synchronicities and messages and whatever, right? And so when we look at it from a business perspective, and this is one of the challenges, because in business, you're supposed to know it all. You're supposed to have it all structured. You're supposed to do the whole thing. It's a little less structured than what traditional business would give you if you're trying to marry energetics and business. And that's because it's actually come through alignment, right? So when you are in full alignment with your business becomes an extension of you, and it harmonizes with the things that you are creating, and it dissonances with things that you don't want, right? So it's as important to know what you do want as what you don't want, right? Both are the same, because you need to know when things are coming in. And this is really difficult when you've got like startups, right? In startups, they're like, I want it all. I want everybody. I work with everybody. I can do it all. Da-da-da. No, you don't. Okay. You don't want people who have no money to spend with your business. You don't want people who will suck all of your energy and time and like leave you drained on the floor. You don't want people who are toxic and angry and are not going to appreciate what you give them. There's a lot of people you don't want, right? And so it's important to know the no's so that you can be clear about the yeses, right?
Let me ask you this. So when it comes to this whole manifestation strategy, like, okay, we're both those woo-woo type of chicks, right?
Yeah.
We cuss, we have fun, and we live our life to the fullest based on what we do as woo-woo chicks. But when it comes to business and utilizing the information you're sharing about manifestation and tapping into your manifesting essence, do you think it is valuable for those that want to use what you have to share, for instance, to create a vision and a mission for their manifestation strategy?
So I go back and forth on the mission and the vision thing, because typically if you are a smaller business, a solopreneur with a bunch of contractors or whatever, you're holding that mission and vision pretty clearly for yourself, no matter what.
Right.
The larger the business gets, the more that mission and vision are like handed down on top of people in a way that is very not inspiring to the people. So it really depends. If you can get buy-in from the people in the organization, then I think a mission and vision are useful. But I think a lot of the quote unquote buy-in that you see in companies is just them like placating the boss and saying, yeah, whatever, right? I think instead there is a better path, because those things are so artificial. And I think what the true way to give your mission and your vision to a larger corporation is from the top down. The way you treat the people in your organization is the way they will treat your customers. Right. And so when you are modeling the mission and the vision that you're living, and you're communicating that and explaining that, because sometimes the visionaries can be a little hard at explaining things to the rest of the group. Mm-hmm. They're like, I'm over here, I'm over there, I'm over there, I'm over there. And the
you feel me? Yeah. We're like, no.
Yeah, I'm one of those people, and my assistant has full authority to look at me and say, no, we're not doing that. And I'm like, but it would be so much fun. She's like, it is not on the plan for this year. We will put it on the list of things to choose from for next year. I'm like, okay. But it would be so awesome. Yeah, right. It's
yeah.
But it keeps me from yanking the company in multiple directions, right? You have to know your limitations as a leader, right? As a leader, I know I have bright, shiny syndrome. I love to try new things. I am all about like, ooh, what's the latest tech? And I'm always 10 years ahead of my time anyway. To give you perspective on that, I built a custom-built learning platform in 2005.
Oh, okay? Wow. So they didn't exist as well.
Yeah. So, they didn't exist until 2015. I've got a system that I designed in 2006 that's only just now capable of being done with reasonable tech without hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of investment. So, yeah, I tend to do that. And most visionaries do, right? Yes. And visionaries are necessary to drive a business forward. It's just, you have to rein them in so that they don't take the business and go, wee, poof, right? It's not good. So that's part of the process.
I like this because it gives people a real perspective, and people that are not like us can get a better understanding of how we operate. I'm like you. I'm a visionary and definitely an innovator. And I kind of like to say like kind of like a Stephen Jobs, but a woo-woo type, how Stephen was, him and Steve Wozniak, because I want to give Steve Wozniak, he is a founder of Apple as well. Yes. He's still living. They had this vision. And I remember when computers first came out, that Apple developed. I have actually their 2000 Mac computer from back in the day. It was platinum plated. I don't know how I don't even remember how I got it, but I knew it was something I needed to keep. And I had one of the first Mac SEs back in the day, right? But I knew that this was going to be technology that was going to be expansive. Now, I didn't have the vision that how we utilize it today in all aspects, but they knew way beyond what we were able to see at that moment in time, how this computer that they were creating or that they had created was going to be a key component of how we ebb and flow in our lives today. And unfortunately, Stephen is not here with us any longer, but he's looking down and saying, yeah, I told y'all, I tried to tell you guys, you weren't with me. And so it's really nice to see when people can make that connection with being that visionary person and incorporate it into their manifestation of what they want to do in life, which is what the Stevens did for Apple. Hold tight, you all. We're going to come right back, and I'm going to talk more about with Kelle about this manifestation strategy, because I think in this day and age, with all that's happening in the world to us today, this is some very important information. So we'll be right back right after this break. All righty, we're back. Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson, the Queen of Feeling Fabulous, here with Kelle Sparta, and we're talking about manifestation. And so, Kelle, extrapolate a little bit more with regards to, I love this conversation. How do you deal with those that aren't in the woo-woo arena like you and I, and they just think that they go out and create things, not realizing that what they create or what they're creating is a manifestation of something that they had inside them long ago.
Yeah. So it's a really interesting thing to walk into somebody who has not historically spent a lot of time in the energetic world, right? So they get the personal growth side often because, you know, they've sort of gotten it from self-help books or from business books or whatever, right? But for instance, I had a founder who was running a $2 million business, and she was really melting down. And she had, I think she had like 20 employees at the time. And it was a tech company, and she's the CEO, and she's just like, right. And I looked at her, I'm like, you're still carrying this energy inside your own energy field, which women tend to do. Right. So when men found businesses, they found them outside of themselves. They found it with their energy. Everybody founds a business with their own energy. That's just the nature of the beast, unless they are really energetically adept and they can pull it from other places. But the average person is using their own energy field to fuel the business. And for women, they do that inside their bodies because our bodies are designed to gestate babies. And so we gestate our baby, our business, inside our bodies and inside our energy field. And so when your energy is not big enough to hold the container of your business anymore, you have to birth that baby out into the world. And you have to release it from your personal energy field so that it can then become what it is meant to become. Because once you have a cadre of employees in the business, they start to create the energy of the business. And, you know, if you're holding that in your energy field, that's going to be really freaking painful. So let's not do that. Right. Right. So, yeah. So that's one of the things that you really have to look for is how is that impacting? And even the men who are putting it outside of themselves, if they're death gripping the energy field and they're not letting other people into it to contribute to it, they're going to end up being micromanagers. They're going to end up being overbearing. They're going to be like, you don't get it. There's all this push pull that happens around that where it's like, you know, why aren't you doing it up to the way I would do it? But they don't communicate that because they assume it's there because it's in the energetic field of the business. And so there's a lot of that happens. And so, yeah.
So let me ask you this, because we're talking about the masculine and feminine, and there are some masculine fellas that do operate in the feminine realm of manifestation, right? Yes. We see them, but then there are those fellas, and there are women that operate in the masculine field of manifestation.
Yes.
How do we as people, business owners, entrepreneurs, career professionals, ebb and flow with these people that operate in the areas, say they're masculine, they're operating in the feminine manifestation field, and vice versa. They're females and they're operating in the masculine manifestation field. How do we first of all recognize who they are and what they're operating in? And then how do we deal with them on a level that we're not combative or contradicting what they're trying to do?
Yeah. So great question. So when you're dealing with anybody, okay, so male, female, gender neutral, whatever, right? Non-binary, I should say. They're operating in specific energetics. And so when we say masculine and feminine in this context, we're not talking about gender per se. Right. We're talking about in the historic context, in tantric texts and other religious contexts, where we are talking about the masculine energy as the energy that holds the structure. It provides the focus and the direction, and it tends to be very holding of space. It's protective, right? And then the feminine energy is that intuitive energy, that flow state, that ability to be with what is and not worry about it too much, but allow yourself to flow with whatever is happening, right? And so inevitably, if you're dealing with a founder, they're almost always living in their masculine energy. But regardless of their gender, they're living in their masculine energy because they are doers, right? Entrepreneurs are doers. Now, when you get higher up in business and you have more people, then you can end up with people in more feminine spaces, but typically not at the very top of the echelons, right? And so, the thing that you have to recognize is that when you're dealing with business owners, you're always, I would say almost always, dealing with somebody in their masculine. And somebody in their masculine is going to be very directive. They're going to be very structured. They're going to be very, follow up and make sure it's going, we're going this way, They tend to overwork. They tend to overdo if they haven't balanced their energies. And because of that, they go through cycles of boom and bust in their energy field. And oftentimes their businesses will reflect that, depending upon how many other employees there are in the business to help mitigate those circumstances. But they often tend to micromanage when they bring on employees, and they will, ironically, a lot of them will have really bad boundaries too. You would think that with all that structure and that purpose and that, focus, that they would have good boundaries. But in actuality, they often have really terrible boundaries. And so they end up, for women, we end up mothering our employees and or giving too much away or whatever. But that, if you're in that state, because you're in that state, you often know that you are unreasonable a lot. And it seems reasonable to you because you are completely unreasonable with yourself, right? It's like, well, I'm only asking you to do a third of what I'm asking myself to do. So why is this a problem? It doesn't matter that a third of what I'm asking me to do is still 3 times what is reasonable,
right?
Because it's only a third of what I'm being insanely unreasonable about for myself. It seems like it should be reasonable. And so there's some part of the brain that recognizes that that's an issue, and therefore the boundaries become challenging because it's like, oh, I can't afford to lose you. Who am I going to hire to get to replace you? I don't have time to replace somebody. I don't have time to interview. I don't have time to create something to get resumes to even interview. It's just right. So because they're operating in emergency mode, because that's what that is emergency mode, they are always in this fight or flight sort of energy, fight, freeze, or flight, but almost always they're in fight, right?
I totally get that, because I am, and because I am that person, I recognize when I'm really operating in the masculine field and when I need to step back into the feminine field. Okay, you all, we got to take one more break. We'll be right back to continue our conversation with Kelle Sparta. Be back in a few. Okay, we are talking, or me and my many personalities, you see them, are talking with, I know you probably can't see them, but they're all here, talking with Kelle Sparta, and we're coming to the close of the show. And so I want to ask Kelle to bestow words of wisdom to all of us that we can take right now after she says them and utilize them in our day to help us with these manifestation strategy that we've been talking about, and just really being in the essence of whether it's masculine, feminine, or whatever it is. Kelle, what's the last message you want to share with the viewers and listeners with us today?
Yeah. So I would love to talk about how to balance this in business, right? So, in business, you have to have a strategy. You have to know how you're going to do it, blah, blah, blah. But there is a balancing point to this. So what you want to do is you want to set the intention for your business for that year. And you're like, this is the intention I want to do for the year. You tell your guides, this is what I want, tell the universe. And this is the 5-year plan. Don't go past 5 years. The world is changing too fast. It's not worth it, right? I would probably only go to 3 years, to be honest, because it's kind of crazy shifting happening right now. So, but 1 year is safe, right? But if you want to have a vision of where it's going from there, do that. And then here's the thing. Strategy is great if you have the right one, right? But what you really want is what you want the outcome to be. And so in the business, what do you want the business to deliver to you? What do you want the business to deliver to your employees? What do you want the business to deliver to your clients? And what do you want the business to deliver to the world? When you write those 4 things down and then let them be, just sit with them and wait a couple of months and just see what shows up. Just be curious. Don't be in a hurry to land on the strategy, right? Just execute on whatever strategy is there right now, because you got to be executing on something to keep the business coming in the door. But wait and see what shows up, because things will surprise you if you allow them to, right? I've been running my business in one way for years, and what showed up was a complete reversal of how I was doing my sales. And I was like, fascinating. And so now we're retooling for that, and already have proof of concept, already having new business coming in around that vision, all sorts of stuff happening because I waited until it aligned, right?
I love that.
That's the key.
I love it. Waiting until it aligns. When you set that manifestation vision out for yourself, sit back and just relax for a moment is what you're saying. And then allow it to manifest how it's supposed to. And in a few months, you will see. And that's so true. You may not see it today, but if you let it go and release it, things will start showing up on your path that is in alignment with what you thought about maybe a couple months ago or, at the beginning of the year. So all you out there listening, watching us, be patient, put it out there, and let the guides and the universe be a co-conspirator in your process of manifesting the strategy that you have for your business and your life. And we're going to stop right there. This is Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson with the fabulous Kelle Sparta. And before I go out, I want to say thank you, Kelle, for your words of wisdom and being a phenomenal guest. I really appreciate what you shared. And even though it was a little bit woo-woo, we kept it real so that everybody can understand the conversation that we're having. To all of you out there listening and watching us, first of all, subscribe to the show. Share it with everyone you love and care about, because you never know what bits and tidbits of information will be dropped on the show that will be game changers for changing your life. People pay Kelle money for this information, and she brought it to us for free, out of her goodness of her heart and time out of her day. She could be doing anything else, but she's here with us today. So to all of you listening, watching, take notes that we are here every week, and we'll have me and my other personalities. We'll have fabulous guests like Kelle. And so this is Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson, the queen of feeling fabulous. And I want to thank our sponsors, Blissful Living for You, as well as All Day Cable Inc. And until next time, I'm wishing you peace to your mind, wellness to your body, tranquility to your spirit, and go out and think about what you would like to manifest, and then release it and watch what shows up in your life. Until next time, goodbye for now, y'all.